Hello guys, welcome back. Now in today's video we're gonna go over a little compilation of mistakes to avoid, okay? So all of those things that you shouldn't be ignoring or should be avoid doing, that way you have a more pleasant experience and you don't waste materials or stamina, right? Because especially if you're free to play or if you're free to play and or casual, you are not going to play a lot and you're not going to spend that much money. So in that case, you really don't want to mess up, okay? Otherwise, that's like -1 day. So without further ado, let's begin. First of all, I wanted to start with a little thing that most people maybe don't know. I mean, most people don't know because not many people played CBT3, but during the release, you might not notice that during the start of the game you will explore 6th Street, okay? Now on 6th Street you will see 3 bangboos sitting on a bench. After the arcade there's gonna be a shop. You can't enter the shop, but you can interact with the bangboos. Now these 3 bangboos are basically a shop. They're a weekly shop and they have different tiers of materials that they sell. The materials that they sell change every week and you can buy them once after you clear the shop. You have to wait the weekly reset for them to offer new ones. They have 3 tiers, B tier, A tier and S tier, and you unlock the higher tier shop by reaching a certain level of internet level, which is how they call your account level. So your account level needs to be a certain number for you to access the A tier and the S tier. I believe the A tier is 20 something and the S tier is like 40 or something like that, okay? Now, why is this good? Aren't those materials kind of whatever? Yes and no. Those materials are not that crazy, but those materials are being sold for Denny's, for the gold, right? Not for anything else. So you can get those materials for free by using money, and which means that you are saving stamina, because the only way for you to get those materials is for you to go to the VR device and do a encounter for stamina. So by buying those, eventually, once you have you buy it every week, you're gonna have decent material stocked up just because you're purchasing from those bangboos, and you will be saving stamina. Okay, so that's the first one. Don't forget to buy those weekly materials from the bangboos. Second of all, you know how you unlock the bardic needle. At a certain point, you will unlock the bardic needle, and you will be able to use your little tokens materials that are also the same material as XP for the CDs. That material can be used to gacha pull. It's not a gacha, but it's basically you do a 10 pull using those materials and you have a chance to get an S rank or just A ranks in general. Now, this bardic needle has different levels, different tiers of upgrades, and they upgrade, of course, again with your internet level. The key point of the whole ZZZ level system is 40, in my opinion. And after level 40, you start unlocking the final stage of almost every facility in the game. So at that point, you know, if you don't want to worry about anything else, just wait until 40. In this case, once you level up past 40 and above, you unlock the level 4 of the bardic needle facility. Now in this place now, you will unlock the possibility of pulling a specific socket of the W engine, a specific number of the CD that you exactly want, that you exactly need. Otherwise, if you use your 10 pulls and you waste your materials to generate a random amount of CDs, they might be having good stats but the wrong number. Good stats, or correct number but it's bad, or now correct number but it's not S tier. So what you want to do is to wait until 40 and then use your pulls to generate the exact CDs that you need. Why should you not care until that point? Because the CDs before level 40 are not that important, and you can make do with whatever you have that you randomly pull like once or twice from the game. You get a bunch of CDs. You can farm a little bit of them, but once you have like the blue ones, the B tier, or like a bunch of A tier, then you don't really need to focus too much on filling up a set or completing a set, because you're gonna have to replace it with the S tier anyway, right? Third, don't ignore Hollow Zero for too long. because from Holo Zero there are some enemies that you need to see to unlock, right? So for example, the VR system, which is where you go to farm for materials, is going to have a different type of monsters for different types of material, or to core or character specific materials. Okay, Nekomata needs the purple core material. Now the purple core material, just an example, comes from a monster that you don't know, that you'd never encountered, because it's not in the story, for example. At that point, all you need to do is go to the Holo Zero and do a specific map. The game will tell you, by the way, which map it is. Go do that specific map, you find the monster, and now you have it unlocked, and now you can actually farm it for that specific material. Now, if you don't do this, if you don't go to the Holo Zero because for whatever reason you decide to, let's say, rush the story or something, right? Maybe you have another way of playing. In that case, you will end up at the end of whatever you're doing without the materials needed. You might have wasted, quote unquote, couple of days. You don't know the monster. You're gonna have to progress through Holo Zero. If you never did Holo Zero, if you always skipped it, Holo Zero every day, maybe in the first 3 days, you're gonna end up with an incomplete Holo Zero. You don't even have access to that map because you need to do the previous ones, and you're not gonna have the monster unlocked, which means that you cannot get the character materials. You don't have now access to the materials that you need to level the character. So keep in mind, do not speed run the story too much. If you're one of those people that are skipping everything and rush Holo Zero as well. You know, rush Holo Zero as well. Make sure that you are unlocking at least the materials for the characters that you need, that you see the monsters, and at that point you're chilling. But don't ignore Holo Zero. Now the next point that I wanted to say is still about characters. Don't build too many characters. I know that it's gonna feel like, oh, I want to try this character, I want to try this character. Oh, this character is cool. I want to play it a little more, right? Let's say we do end up getting Lucy and Piper for free and A rank and 1.0. Let's say that happens. Now, oh, I want to use Lucy. I want to build Piper, right? Now, you still need to be paying attention to what level you are, how much stamina you're using, what are you farming, and how many characters do you need? What are your teams? Did you finish your team? Did you finish your main team, your main element team? Do you have one cracked and ready to go? Do you have it? If yes, then sure, start building extra characters. But do not go and build many characters at the same time, because you're going to end up struggling a lot in shield defense. Shield defense, if you don't remember or don't know, is the abyss of Genshin, let's say, or Memory of Chaos of HSR. You're gonna have to go through 10 stages of the normal version, and then there's gonna be a temporary version like the last floors of Abyss or the temporary MOC that's harder, right? It works like that. So before you reach 10, these shield defense levels are gonna be harder and harder and ask you for different elements on your team. So when you are farming for building characters, do not build many characters, because you're going to spread out your resources and everybody is going to be okay instead of having 3 people builded up and ready to go. You're going to have everybody almost built, which means that you're not going to be able to progress too much, or maybe if you don't care about shield progression, or like don't want to rush shield progression, you don't care too much, it's still going to feel bad during the story, because the story is going to be requiring a little more level of building on your characters, or stats, raw stats on your character once you go further and further through the story, right? So keep that in mind. Another mistake to do is building too many characters. I know during a release is going to be like an exciting time, and you're going to probably get baited into building a couple characters because you really want to play them, but try to remind yourself of this, okay? And then you can do, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. Next up, it's still building the characters, but building the wrong characters. What do I mean by that? Let's briefly do this point, because it's kind of connected to the previous one. Building the wrong character means building, let's say, 4 physical characters, or building like all electro, and you have like 4 or 5 electro characters. They're not in the game, but you know what I mean. I mean building the wrong element that you don't need anymore, or an element that you don't have enough characters to build a full element team for. So let's say you have only Grace, and then you're building Anton, and now you're building Anbi. That's fine. But if you are building Koleda, and then you are building Grace, and then you are building Nekomata to play together, the team is not gonna do as well. You're gonna technically build the wrong character, because you cannot make any team with those people that it's functionally end game ready. Not end game, but like higher tier of requirement for your combat ready. So in that case, do not build the wrong character too much. Pay attention to the bonuses that they have and to the synergy that they have. Okay, now next up, you know how there is a selector, okay? The 5-star selector, everybody always likes the selector. Now in this case, it's not going to be like other games. We are going to have the selector like we had it on Honkai Star Rail. You need to do 300 pulls on the standard banner before you have access to the selector, and the selector is going to make you choose one of the standard pool of characters, which are 6. Now that's cool and all, but my suggestion here, the mistake you should avoid, is trying to think about it after you have the characters and planning around this character that you're going to pick up on the selector too early, because this character, you are not going to finish the selector anytime soon. After the first initial burst of pulls from 1.0 for the standard banner, you are not going to use your polychromes for the standard banner. You are not, because that would be another mistake to avoid for maybe new people, new players of gacha games. You never use your premium currency, which in this case are polychromes, to convert it into the master tape, which is the pool for the standard banner. You always, especially if free to play, you always convert those polychrome into the premium banner, because you want to buy the special character. You don't care about the standard character, because with the little breadcrumbs that you're eventually going to get, you will eventually get the standard characters here and there throughout your long-term playing of the game. So do not plan too much on the standard selector character, because you're going to see it in a year, or more or less like 8, 9, 10 months if you are a spender, or if you're not a spender, if you're free to play, it's going to unironically take around a year, unless we get more freebies, more rewards from like hitting some milestone. Oh, number 1 iOS app, a number 1 app on the App Store. In that case, maybe if they want us, some gachas do it. Depends on what the CCC devs want to handle the things. We could get a little more. It could speed up a little more, but usually that's what you do. Now, let's move on to the faction bonus. This is another mistake that a lot of people are bound to make. They're going to forget about the faction bonus. Now, this is the one mistake to avoid. It's not that big of a deal, but it's going to be important later on, especially in Shield Defense Temporary. So what you want to do is try to learn and make it, perceive it as something that you do without even thinking. It has to become second nature. So what you have to do is to check when you are making a team, check what their emoji are saying. There are going to be little emojis on close to their level, below their portraits, and they're going to be like either normal or smiling. And if they're smiling, it means that their faction bonus is working. Otherwise, if they're not smiling, it means that it's not working. Now, this is a little less important on certain characters, or a little less important on characters that are not like super impactful in the combat. For example, like a stunner or an anomaly builder or a support. Obviously, always check what they do, and if it's a mega bonus, even if it's a support, try to cater towards it. So a mistake to avoid is to make a team that technically you like, that is fun to play, but it's missing like every faction bonus. Believe it or not, the faction bonus are really powerful, especially some of them, so you want to at least check what you're missing, and if you think it's a big deal, then adjust your team accordingly. But before you build characters, try in your head to compose a team that works and that also has the faction bonus enabled. If you are unsure on what is happening, I made a team guide on my channel, so you can feel free to go there and check. Otherwise, you can have fun yourself and try to think like the perfect team for you. Okay, so that's one of the mistakes to avoid. Another mistake to avoid is the ignoring the proxy primer tutorial. Now, the proxy primer tutorial is going to give you a lot of pulls, but at first you're gonna neglect it because it's gonna feel like it's not gonna be not that big of a deal. But basically what it is your initial beginner tutorial that is given to you passively. It's always there. You can decide to do it or not to do it, and it's basically a little tutorial composed by a couple of missions, and every mission that you do is going to give you some polychromes, some extra rewards like XP or materials or HIA coins. Now all of this you don't get if you're not doing the tutorial. So it's going to be 5 missions per level, it's going to be 7 levels, and if you complete everything, you're going to end up with a lot of polychromes and a lot of extra materials. And also, those HIA coin are going to be extremely valuable for the secret organization that you can give them to. So you go and exchange these coins for valuable materials. I'm not going to spoil too much, but that's when you see an HIA coin, you go, oh, let's go, Pog, right? Wow, I got one. So you will see, it will be part of the tips video. But for now, this is a mistake. Don't ignore the proxy primer. It's going to give you a lot of polychromes, a lot of XP, a lot of materials, a lot of level up materials for free. So you don't have to use stamina to get them, right? And the HIA coin. Now, a new mistake to avoid, I'm gonna add, is to ignore the Mew Mew mascot in Lumina Square. You really want to do his medals, because he's gonna give you, again, it's basically a proxy primer but on crack. It's gonna give you way more stuff. It's gonna be way more medals to do. That has 2 pages. I don't know what's on page 2. We didn't have the reveal on the live stream, but that was really high, and I think it's gonna be a lot of materials to be missed. So don't miss that. And that concludes the mistakes to avoid. For now, if I think anything else, I will make a comment and pin it, okay, for extra stuff. That said, the video is over. Thank you for watching. As usual, I will be streaming live on twitch.tv/Jakazin. A link is going to be in the description if you want to join my Discord to have fun and talk and find new friends to play gadgets with. Link is in the description. I'm going to play ZZZ as well, obviously. And the rest is the usual stuff. Leave a like, subscribe, and for more ZZZ videos. That's it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.